Standing here outside of Liberty Fest, New York City with candidate Mike McDermott. Mr. McDermott, what are you running for? What office?
I'm running for U.S. Congress in the new New York 3rd Congressional District on Long Island.
Okay, so you're...
it encompasses from Smithtown out east all the way up to Queens, Douglaston and Little Neck in Queens.
Okay, so you're running for a district that was created under the redistricting from the census?
Partially. It was reconfigured. It was the second district, part of a little bit of Gary Ackerman's district, a little bit of Peter King's district, and part of Steve Israel's district. And now it's all just us, Steve Israel's district. But it's a new district for Steve because he had 75% new lines drawn, so 75% of the people don't know who he is.
Okay. How many candidates are in this race?
There are 3 serious candidates. There's the Democrat, the Republican, and then myself. And I'm running as a Libertarian.
And it's my understanding that the Republican and Democratic candidate actually have debates scheduled?
They have a debate scheduled on News 12, but at the end of August they invited me to the debate, and then when I didn't hear from them just this past week, I called to see what's going on, when is the debate? Only to find out that, oh, Mr. McDermott, you're excluded. I said, why was I excluded? Because you're running as a Libertarian, and a Libertarian is not a serious party and not recognized by New York State. So they excluded me.
In the process of getting on the ballot as a Libertarian, were you required to file the same number of signatures or pay the same financial filing fee as the other candidates?
No, actually. I had to get 4 times as many signatures. Because as a Democrat or Republican, you needed 938 signatures. Which I actually did get those 938 signatures. I actually got 1,177 to run in the Republican primary. And during that process, I realized the Republican Party has lost me. I didn't want to, I'm no longer a Republican. I felt that the Libertarian Party made more sense. So I had to get 3,500 valid signatures. Otherwise, it was the same filing fees. We were all certified by the New York State Board of Elections. We're all recognized. We're all on the ballot. And when the people in the 3rd District go into the ballot booth, they're going to see Steve Israel, Steve LeBate, and me. The Steves and me.
You said you originally ran in the Republican primary?
I had considered doing that. So I had gotten a petition together. I just didn't submit it because I felt it would be hypocritical. I didn't want to be a Republican. The Republican Party has lost me.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I sat down last night with, at dinner with about 8 individuals embedded with the Republican Party in Washington, D.C. And one of the arguments that I posed to them was the fact that the party's no longer representing the people. And a few of them actually agreed, and then a few of them decided, no, you know, people just need to get in line and do it the way the party says.
Yeah.
How have you been treated specifically by the Republican Party as opposed to the Democratic Party with your candidacy here in New York?
Well, the parties themselves have tried to ignore me. They've tried to just make me go away. They ignore me. When I meet the opponents, my opponents at the festivals and that sort of thing, the Republican fellow, Steve number 2 I call him, has been very friendly and courteous, but he doesn't have a clue. He's just another good Republican. And let me tell you, being a Republican for the last 41 years, when I say he's just a good Republican, so is I. And I used to go into the voting booth and just click Republican, Republican, Republican. Then I realized we're not getting anything done in Congress because the Republicans say yes, the Democrats say no. The Democrats say yes, the Republicans say no. And what happens is nobody talks to each other and nothing gets done. Just to give you a little thing, Harry Truman, in 1945, his Congress, he labeled the Do-Nothing Congress because they only passed 906 new bills. And that was the Do-Nothing Congress. However, this Congress, the 112th Congress, could only pass 173 bills. Now, some would argue in the Libertarian Party that's a good thing because that means there are not as many bad bills that are being passed. But the fact is they're not working. Congress does not work. Congress is broken. And if we can't get some independent thinking, libertarian people that respect the Constitution into office, we're not going to get anywhere. No matter who wins in November, in a presidential race, Obama, Romney, whatever, we're just not going to win.
You know, you make an interesting point. I'm actually standing here shivering. I'm from Daytona Beach. No, thank you. But I appreciate the offer. As a Libertarian candidate, how could you affect change in a stalemate Congress? Because you just pointed out, Republicans and Democrats both refuse to compromise, refuse to work together, and you would definitely be part of the minority if you were to succeed in this campaign.
Yeah, but there's one big difference, and this worked in France just a few years ago, where they had two big parties, and then one small party got in with enough votes to make a difference. If we had 15 or 20 independents or libertarians that could caucus together, all the votes in Congress that are largely 50-50 or only 3 or 4 votes, we could have a major impact. both sides will be trying to get our 15 or 20 votes to side with them. And we have the opportunity to really have an influence in Congress on both parties. We're not trying to reach across the aisle, we're in the aisle, reaching to both sides. And what would be especially important is that we get them to start talking with each other. And when they want to put a bill in, the first question to be asked is it constitutional? If it's not constitutional, the answer is no. Like the NDAA, the Patriot Act, and so many liberty-removing laws that are in place, including the 16th Amendment for income tax. You know, the government doesn't have a right, I don't believe, to tell you as an American citizen that you have to pay them so much money that you earn. How much you earn is your business, not theirs. There are other ways to pay for things. Unfortunately, they've bloated the government to such a huge size that there's no way to pay for it. That's why we're $16 trillion in debt. And we're not going to get out of that unless something major happens. So if we can get 15 to 20 votes, we can reach across not across the aisle, but reach on both sides of the aisle and get them to start talking to each other, and let's get something done. So 15 to 20 out of 435 seats is a major accomplishment that could have major effects in this country.
Did you happen to watch the rumble in New York between Bill O'Reilly and Jon Stewart that was aired on pay-per-view on the internet this past week?
Unfortunately, I did not I only saw snippets that they showed, but it looked like I didn't record it. I'm hoping I can get a copy because I'd like to see it.
There was an interesting comment or an exchange between the two of them regarding a third party, and Bill O'Reilly actually made the statement that there's already a third party building and that there would be one that would make some changes in 2016.
Yeah.
If you don't win this election, do you tell liberty-minded voters that it's time to be serious and start working to organize a nationwide party that can nominate a libertarian candidate and get them on the ballot in all 50 states?
I don't really like the term third party because that would indicate that you're very like the first party or the second party.
Okay.
But just for argument's sake, my plan is on November 6th, we're going to either have a victory party or it's going to be a kickoff for the 2014 campaign. And during the next 2 years, I'm either going to be in Congress representing the people in the 3rd District, or I'm not going to be elected to Congress, and I'm going to go down to Washington once a month, and I'm going to file press releases and reports every week to the people of the 3rd District, and I'm going to represent them as a libertarian and as a freedom-minded person. You know, when you think about it, what makes America exceptional? What is the difference between America, the United States of America, and every other country? It's we're free. And as we start losing that freedom, our exceptionalism is being lost too. So that's the plan. So win or lose, I'm going to win. And the people of the 3rd District are going to win. I'm hoping to win because I make more money, I can actually make a good living as I'm doing this. But I've already opted out of the retirement program for Congress. I think there's a lot of things in Congress that need to be fixed.
Okay. Do you think that whether you win or lose, do you think the way both parties and the establishment and even the media has treated libertarian candidates or independent candidates, regardless of whether they're libertarian, Green Party, etc., as far as the excluding, do you think people are starting to realize that something needs to change in this country?
I think starting. Having 4,200 signatures on my petition, I got a chance to shake thousands of hands. And I spoke to a lot of people. And Republicans, Democrats, there's even actually one Communist Party member, but libertarians, and I met very few that didn't feel that it's time for a change, that the Democrat-Republican monopoly is just not working. It's just not working. So something has to change. And people that keep voting for the same people year after year and expect to change is the definition of insanity, according to Albert Einstein, and it is true. So let's get some new people, some new bloods, and I don't mean just a new Republican or a new Democrat. I think we have to get some libertarians or independent-minded people that are really sincere about what they want to do. And if I'm nothing but it's sincere, I really want to make a difference, and I think I can. I just have to get the people to know what the message is. But the media, News 12 in particular, has excluded me from the debate so that people in the 3rd District don't hear what I have to say. And what do I have to say? Liberty and freedom-minded principles. And they don't want that to be out there. News 12 is deciding what the people should hear. And that's just wrong. That's just wrong. So we're fighting that.
Your campaign website?
It's McDermott2012.com.
Okay. And I understand.
Donations. We need money.
Well, tell them.
Just a little. You can go a long way with just a little.
I understand there's also an online petition process to get you included in the debates. Is that correct?
I have heard that, but I haven't been a party of it, so I'm not sure. But we're working on making as much hay, I guess you could say. We're thinking about filing a complaint with the FCC. We're thinking about filing for injunctive relief. I'm really opposed to all that. I just think that right is right, and we just have to make them aware. So we're going to do some protests. We're going to have signs. We're going to have people in. The News 12 has had a reverse effect of what they expected. Rather than excluding me from everything, they polarized people, Democrats, Republicans, and one Communist Party member, all together with Libertarians for the sole purpose of being fair. And no matter what side you're on, for me to be excluded from a debate is just not fair. Okay. It's not right. And people have a right to hear another side, whether you agree with me or not.
Mr. McDermott, thank you for your time and good luck.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it.